What is going on, guys? Carter here with Edge Mindset. This is going to be a lessons learned type video and maybe a little bit of advice for those that are wanting to get into making content. So I uploaded a video. It was supposed to be a joke on Shorts. I'll link it down in the description below. Before you finish this video, I'd recommend watching it. It'll provide so much context on what I'm talking about, and it'll make more sense. If you haven't seen it, if you're not aware of it, I'll link it down below. For me, it went viral. It's like almost 700,000 views, which for me is insane. Never in a million years did I think it would have done that. But it was a bit of a misstep. I don't think it's been a good thing. It's hard to say for sure. There is that saying of any press or bad press is any press is better than no press, or I don't know, whatever that saying is, basically saying even if it's negative, it's still exposure. I don't know if that's true. I really don't, because that video was not well received by and large. Some people enjoyed it and got a chuckle out of it, which is what the intention was, but the vast majority of people did not, for a couple reasons, and I'll talk about that here in a minute. So overall, I would say it's a bit of a misstep, but it's hard to say, like, should I have pulled it? I think it's too late now. I think it's going to putter out. Should I have pulled it? Because I certainly didn't gain much from it. I didn't get really any subscribers. YouTube doesn't pay anything on Shorts. I mean, you get like 5 cents for 10,000 views or something. Like it's next to nothing. Oh, by the way, this is all here because this is all part of that video. But yeah, so the point of this video is to shed some light on my missteps so that hopefully you don't do the same thing, and kind of give you some insight into just things to be aware of. You know, I learned a lot from that video. So first off, what is that video? It was meant to be a little joke. It was meant to be a little inside joke for the knife community. It is based off of comments that I get on OTF knife videos, where basically people say OTFs are junk, the mechanism sucks, because if you hit it into things, it stops. It doesn't even go through it. That's why you should get manual folders, right? So the point of the video was to make fun of those people by saying, anytime you open an opening knife and it hits something, it's not going to lock out all the way, right? I was just simply pointing out how that was a stupid statement, because any knife, if it hits something, it's not going to lock out. That's all it was. It was a passing thought. I thought it was funny. I received those comments all the time on my OTF videos. But where I made the mistake is I didn't spend the time to either go find one of those comments, which would have taken I don't know how long, and do an actual video response on it, or wait until I get another one and do a video response. My ADHD said, if you don't make this video now, you're going to forget it and you're never going to do it. So just YOLO it and make the video pretending like people understood where you're coming from. And so that's what I did. And in modern day technology, you've got a video recorder, an editor, and a publishing device in your hand. So I went from concept to publish in like 10 minutes, which that's the first issue, right? I didn't sit and think, how are different types of people going to interpret this video, and how can I tailor the video to try and satisfy each of these people, right? So that's what you need to do when publishing content. You've really got to treat each piece of content carefully. And how is this going to be perceived, and how can I provide value to different people watching it? And that's harder to do. It's easier to say than do, because at least for me, most of my videos, nobody watches them, right? Or very few people watch them. And so it's hard to put that much care in every piece of content. I put out a lot of content. You kind of have to, it's so saturated, but really you need to try to think that through, because I had no idea this video was going to blow up, obviously. The second it started to take off, I was like, oh, there's a million different ways I could have handled it so that it would have went over better. So let's talk about why it failed. I mentioned that I didn't provide the context needed, right? That would have helped people to kind of get the joke, I think. Some people did get the joke. You know, knife people, I think, kind of got the joke. And of the people that did get the joke, I would say 3/4 of them thought it was funny, got a chuckle, and then another quarter just didn't think it was funny, which is fair, because I could have done more to actually make it a better joke, right? That's part of it too. So it's kind of a failure all around. Those that didn't get the joke thought I was an idiot, right? They thought I was the person I was kind of poking fun at, and I was the biggest moron. That's on me, right? So once again, you gotta think through who might see that video and how they might take it. I intended that video to be for my knife homies, that they would kind of be like, oh, I've ran into these people, kind of funny, ha ha ha. I didn't expect it to blow up outside of the knife community, and that's the other thing I learned in this event, right? I went well outside of the knife community with this one, right? So people that aren't knife guys or people that are super casual saw this, right? Because it went outside the bounds of just the YouTube knife friends area into regular public. And yeah, I did not account for that, and I did not build that video for them. I didn't provide anything in that video that they could get value of. So I got a lot of comments of basically, what a waste of a video. I wasted their time. No duh. Of course, water's wet, sky's blue, Captain Obvious. I'll never get this minute back, which I think is kind of funny because it is only a minute. It's like, come on, it's a minute. Like, it took you longer to post the comment about how it wasted your minute than the actual minute it took of your time. But anyways, just lots of comments about that. Don't get me wrong, though. Some people thought it was hilarious, right? There's a good amount of people that got the joke. They thought it was hilarious. They're like, man, you had me on the first half. Glad you redeem yourself at the end. I get what you're saying, blah, blah, blah. So there was positive, but a lot of negative involved here. The other thing that I learned is just how crazy the myths around OTFs are. And I knew they existed, but man, there's this magical real switchblade. That's what people call it, a real switchblade that can go through 2x4s. It can go through helmets and into people's brains. It's the number one assassination method, where you'd hold it up to somebody's body and you'd shoot it through them. But those are illegal now because they're too dangerous, right? So now they have these fake switchblades, these fake OTFs that stop when they hit paper towels. Super common. And if you were to ask me 2 weeks ago, do I believe people believe that kind of stuff? I would have said, yeah, sure. But the amount of people is what blows me away. So many people are citing this real switchblade, and these anecdotal stories of, like, my friend had one that would go through plywood, and of course I always respond trying to be careful, right? And I'm like, oh wow, I've never heard of such a thing. Could you point me in the direction of what knife specifically you're talking about? Because I've never heard of that. Or on the legal side, can you point me to any resource that says the safety off-track mechanism? Because that's the other very pervasive comment on these coming off track, is that it's a legal thing, that the only way these could be legal is if they come off track, which, I'm not a legal expert, but I'm aware of absolutely zero laws that get into those specifics where they say this is legal, but if you have one that doesn't come off track, then it's illegal, because that's essentially a single action OTF. I've never heard of any laws or regulations that separate these two, right? It's either it's an OTF, it's an automatic, so it's illegal. They care about blade length sometimes. They care about double edge sometimes, but nothing to do with whether it does or doesn't go off track. And certainly, there's no magic OTF that can go through things. Now, it is quite possible that some of the old Italian switchblades, OTF switchblades, didn't come off track. However, I guarantee you they don't go through 2x4. A lot of lessons, right? I could have done a lot of things better. Provided more context for my video so more people got the joke. Made the joke stronger, right? Like, taken more than 5 minutes and thought, hey, how can I make this joke a little more thought out? Maybe the punchline's a little bit better. I could have added a little something at the end, just made it a better joke. 3, maybe softened it so it didn't come across as mean-spirited to people that felt like it was at their expense, right? I could have done that as well. I could have provided more educational content or additional content so that people that don't get the joke at least feel like, okay, well, I learned something, or I saw something interesting or of value. So a lot of ways I could have handled it better, but unfortunately, can't fix it now. My only option would have been to pull the video when it started to take off. And it was a tough decision. I thought about it. I'm like, do I pull this video? It's not going off well. I don't know if I want this video representing me. I didn't, right? Because it was so much fun to see it grow. It was so much fun to get all the comments. It was fun to respond to them. Like I said, I don't know what the net damage is on this. I may have screwed myself, or maybe it was just a misstep. I don't know. But yeah, keep that in mind. You got to really think that any piece of content you put out there could potentially reach a big audience and could potentially reach an audience outside of your core audience. And think about how that might be perceived, and think about how well that might go over. All right, guys, I've rambled on long enough. Let me know down below what you think about that viral video. Did you get a chuckle out of it? Did you think it was dumb? Did you not get it? Do you think it was mean? Let me know. I'm curious to see what your thoughts are.